In the vast, unforgiving expanse of rural Australia, where the horizon stretches endlessly and secrets are swallowed by the land, I stumbled upon something that defied reason. A discovery so bizarre and unsettling, it's haunted me ever since. It started with an afternoon off in a curious blue container in the middle of nowhere. When I was 19, I worked for a company that assigned labor to remote parts of rural Australia. The job was simple. Tell them your availability, and they'd send you to a farm in the middle of nowhere to do whatever work was needed. It was tough, grueling at times, but the pay was solid, and the camaraderie often made it worthwhile. One summer, I was sent to an enormous property. It sprawled over a landmass roughly equivalent to the state of Maryland in the United States. It took 9 hours to drive there from Sydney, and the nearest town was still 40-minute drive away. In other words, it was complete isolation. I was there with 3 other guys, all city kids like me, working under the watchful but laid-back supervision of the property owner. He wasn't one for excessive words, but he treated us well and wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty alongside us. The days were brutally hot, the work physically demanding, and the summer sun seemed relentless. One particularly scorching afternoon, when the temperature climbed to 38 degrees Celsius, roughly 100 degrees Fahrenheit, he decided to give us the afternoon off. He mentioned a waterhole on the property, about a 25-minute drive north. The other workers opted to lounge in the shade, but I was eager for a swim. So we hopped into one of the work trucks and set out. The drive was uneventful at first. Endless expanses of sun-scorched land stretched before us, punctuated by the occasional cluster of trees. Felt like we were traveling through an alien world, where time stood still and life seemed distant. After about 20 minutes, the silence broke when he nudged me sharply and pointed ahead. "Do you see that? Beneath those dead trees?" Following his gesture, I squinted and spotted it. A flash of blue standing out starkly against the dusty, barren expanse. It looked angular and unnatural. As we got closer, it became clear. A shipping container, bright blue, sitting alone in the middle of the wilderness. My stomach tightened. Something about it felt wrong, completely out of place, almost as if it shouldn't exist. He seemed just as perplexed, muttering that it hadn't been there a month earlier, when he last drove through this area. Curiosity burned in his voice as he steered us closer. We stopped about 100 meters away. By then, the uneasy feeling in my gut had turned into full-blown dread. Everything about this felt off. The location, the isolation, the unnatural presence of this object in the otherwise untouched landscape. But he was determined to investigate. After all, it was his land. Against my better judgment, I followed. As we approached, the details became even stranger. A diesel generator hummed behind the container, its rhythmic thumping breaking the oppressive silence. CCTV cameras were perched on each corner, buzzing as they tracked our every move. I tried to reason with him, suggesting we leave, but he dismissed my protest. Whoever had set this up was trespassing, and he wanted answers. The door was secured by nothing more than a padlock. Retrieving bolt cutters from the truck, he made short work of it. When the heavy door creaked open, a blast of chill air rushed out, starkly contrasting the sweltering heat outside. The interior was bathed in a dim glow from the countless LEDs scattered across the walls. The hum of machinery filled the air with an eerie mechanical pulse that seemed to synchronize with the unease creeping up my spine. Inside, the space was cluttered, yet meticulously organized. Walls lined with massive hard drives, plastic storage boxes stacked against one end, and rows of desks with computer monitors glowing faintly in the center. Rolling office chairs were neatly pushed in, as though their occupants had just stepped away. It felt surreal, like stepping into a scene from a nightmare. My skin prickled with the sensation of being watched. I couldn't shake the thought that we were trespassing in something far darker than we could comprehend. While he delved into the computers, muttering about the endless streams of incomprehensible data, I found myself drawn to the storage boxes. Something compelled me, despite every instinct screaming to turn back. My hands trembled as I opened one of the containers. What I saw turned my stomach and froze me in place. The box was filled with neatly arranged files, photos, and DVDs. Horrific, unspeakable content. The kind of darkness you read about in the worst news stories, but never expect to encounter. Organized and cataloged with chilling precision, the materials left no doubt about their purpose. I stumbled back, bile rising in my throat. "We need to go," I gasped, my voice cracking. "Now, we need to get out of here." He turned to me, confused, until I managed to choke out a fragmented explanation. His face hardened, and for the first time, I saw fear flash across his features. We bolted from the container, slammed the truck doors shut, and sped back towards the farmhouse. By the time the police arrived, nearly 2 hours later, the scene had changed. Flames licked at the edges of the container, smoke billowing into the sky. We tried in vain to extinguish the fire, but the blaze consumed everything. The authorities found little more than ashes, a few scraps of melted plastic, and faint traces of paper. The high-tech equipment, the storage boxes, everything incriminating was gone. Whoever had set this up had been watching. They'd seen us and returned to erase the evidence. The container still sits there, an empty, charred shell, a haunting reminder of what we stumbled upon that day. The investigation went cold, and no answers ever came, but the memory lingers. Those images, the ominous hum of the machines, and the feeling of being watched in that barren wasteland. Some nights I still wake up drenched in sweat, my mind replaying the discovery. The darkness we uncovered wasn't just evil. It was calculated, organized, and hidden in plain sight. If you enjoyed this story and want to uncover more eerie and thought-provoking tales, don't forget to like this video to show your support. Drop a comment below with your thoughts or questions, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.